What's up? So you get to see my illustrious bald spot that has been forming for a little bit. Does not look fantastic. It's not very flattering, but you know, that's me now. Also, my face has not been great, and I was thinking that it was HS that was causing it, but I don't think that's the issue, because usually when I have a boil that I get like on my face or on my armpit, it's just the boil, nothing else, no extra little bumps around it, and I have a lot of little things going on with my face, and so I'm thinking possibly it's PCOS or endometriosis or a beautiful fucking combination of the two that's going on with me, because earlier this month, or in August, I had a second period. I had 2 periods in August, which is not something that typically happens to me. And I was looking up information about PCOS because in the past my mom thought I might have it, but we kind of ruled it out because a lot of the information about PCOS says that you have fewer periods a year. Like, so a person might have like 4, and not the inverse, not the other way around. But that is something that is also a symptom of PCOS. You could have more than 1 period a month. It's more irregularity rather than no periods at all, or, you know, fewer periods. Going to the gynecologist next week? Give me a sec. Yeah, next week, to see what's what about that. We'll see. So I wanted to talk about HS a little bit because I haven't talked about it in a while, and it is something that is a part of my life. It definitely affects my life and how I live it. Back in, what is the month before August? July? Or maybe it was June? One of those J months. I went to the dermatologist and they gave me some dope ass injections. They were steroid injections, and they calmed down my armpit because I was in the middle of a flare up. But right after that, it flared right back the fuck up. It was really bad after that. And that was as the craziness was happening with the trips, grandmother dying, going out to Jekyll Island, the yearly thing, and then mother-in-law getting sick. And so it's been a lot of stress, a lot of stressful things have been going on, and I don't know, it's definitely affected my HS. My HS is not as bad as it was when I was in school, but it is worse than it was earlier this year. The worst I've ever been is while I was in school. Like, it was awful. So I try to avoid things that I know will stress me out, well, at least to the best of my ability, and school is definitely one of them. So I keep mentioning HS. If you are new to this channel, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. HS is a autoimmune disorder. It's hidradenitis suppurativa, or acne inversa, which is like internal acne. So really what it is a autoimmune disorder where your body is kind of attacking itself in areas where you experience a lot of friction and a lot of sweat. So groin region, your legs, sometimes your back. I got boils back on my fucking tailbone. That was awful. Your armpits, especially, depending on your sex and the amount of stress that you're under, you get boils in different areas. I get them in my armpits mainly, but I've gotten them on my face before. I've gotten them on my chest. But there is actually kind of some organization to how HS is diagnosed, as far as how bad it is, how much it's progressed. And it's a system called the Hurley system, Hurley. And there's 3 stages. So the first stage is just regular old boils. You just get, you know, reoccurring boils, but they come up and they go away. And they can actually be treated. They actually respond to treatment, like over-the-counter things and kind of home remedies like tomato paste and hot compresses. Those are things that actually can help. I've read a few things about people getting electrolysis, getting all the hair removed from different areas, being helpful in stage 1. Then you have stage 2. Stage 2 is when sinuses begin to form. And so you'll have, like, just in your armpit or like on your chest or on your legs, you'll have more than one boil. And when you press down on one boil, there'll be pus and gunk and stuff coming out of another one. So that means that they're connected in some way, and that's a sinus. So there's, you know, this shunt between the boils that they connect to each other, and it is a pretty disturbing thought. And rather painful. You can actually feel the sinuses in your skin, and you can feel like it's a duct. You can feel it inside. So the final stage is stage 3, where you of course have the ducts. You of course get the reoccurring boils as you do in stage 2 and stage 1. But you also have significant scarring that is visible, that you can see. I see a lot of people, like, it seems like stage 3 is, there's a lot of room in stage 3, because seeing scar tissue, like I have scar tissue in my armpit, so seeing scar tissue doesn't necessarily mean you are like the worst off, but there are some real bad fucking cases of HS at stage 3. And if you look it up, you'll see, like, you can see inside people's bodies. It's bad. It's real bad. Where your body is really like eating itself up, so that it's just like you can see inside. It's bloody and fleshy. It almost looks like a person's been affected by acid, where their skin is melting. It looks real bad. And it's debilitating. It's not just uncomfortable, it is unbearable. It's terrible. It's a pretty awful disease, and it's not super prevalent, but I mean 4% is a good amount of people that are being affected by it, for it not to have really much of any research or, you know, steps towards a cure. It's kind of strange how little information there really is. There's a lot of anecdotal things, like it just depends on the kind of person you are, really, that like treatment will help. For stage 2, I heard Humira is helpful. Stage 3, I don't think it is that much, because you've gone kind of beyond the point of no return with stage 3, and surgery really is the only way to kind of alleviate some of the issues that you would have at such a far progressed stage in the disease. I have a few members of my family that have HS, and I'll talk to them on and off about the issues that I have with boils and, you know, all that stuff. And it's interesting to run into people that suffer from similar illnesses to you but don't fucking know anything about it. Because my aunt, I was talking to her, and she's like showing me her armpit, and I showed her mine, and she's like, oh, yours isn't that bad. And I was like, bitch, did you really just say? She didn't understand. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, because she is stage 1, and so she gets the boils, and the boils look really bad when you have like several in one area. They do look bad, and they're recurring, of course, and they can get really big. But when you're stage 1, it is so much more manageable. It is so much easier to live your fucking life when you just have boils and not sinuses and scar tissue. My armpit actually kind of not necessarily looks better than hers, but I didn't have boils like she has boils, and so she assumed that my shit was not that bad. She's like, yours isn't even that bad. And I was like, the reason why I don't have boils is because my skin has effectively been rendered not skin. It's not functioning as skin should function, and so I can't actually form boils because there's too much scar tissue. There's so much scar, and the scar tissue, it doesn't act like regular skin. It just gets really fucking inflamed, or it's just sitting there being lumpy. So it's not the same as stage 1. It definitely isn't the same, and it looks, depending on the day, depending on the amount of stress that I'm under, it looks almost better, and it almost looks like I only have like one boil, but it's not better. It's not. So when I went to the dermatologist back in June or July or whatever, they told me that the surgery was really my only viable option, and that treating it with steroids would help to, you know, kind of keep it at bay, but the only way to cure me would be to just, the surgery really is going in and scooping out all of the sinuses, all of that scar tissue, taking it out and putting a skin graft in. And that sounds kind of grisly, especially for such a large part of your body as your armpit. It sounds not reassuring, and it's also not reassuring that the surgery doesn't always work. It doesn't always help. A lot of people will end up right back where they started. And so I'm not sure if that's the way I want to go. And I don't want to have prolonged exposure to steroids either, because it thins your skin and your body kind of always absorbs steroids. It's not like if you have too much of it, your body will expel it. You just always absorb steroids. And so I'm really wary about, I don't know, the options for treating it. It seems like diet is the best way, and the least intrusive way, but something's going on with my stomach also that kind of affects my diet, and I just have issues with diet in general. And so I don't know, things are a mess currently, and so I'm trying to think through what exactly I would like to do into the future, and I'm not certain. So while I'm not entirely certain what I'm going to do as far as surgery or whatever goes, at the moment I am doing, diet and trying to lower my stress levels a bit, because it's definitely triggered by diet and stress. But, who knows? I'll keep you guys posted about what I do with my HS. And as I learn things about it, I'll let you know, because I think it's really important to get information out there about it, because there is so little information circulating about HS for the amount of people that are affected by it. But yeah, I'll talk to you later.